Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our run as the French Commune. The sun never sets on our empire. Last episode we did go communist, and we also did this to Austria-Hungary. Look what we did to their poor boy. In the interim, we, put a bunch of stuff in the queue. In particular, we're having acute problems with convoys, and our convoys are pretty much only maintaining port connections, so once we get this up and running in Sinai, things should be a little bit better. There is a nerf in terms of how many convoys you're getting is particularly uncomfortable right now, and we are shipping so much goods around the Cape right now, I think, especially because we started, blasting some factories here in Jiangxi, which I think is part of the cause of this, and so once we get the Sinai Canal up and running, that will be a big help on that front. Do have to do a deeper dive on convoys and how they work, though, but you can take a look. It's 85k from port connections is our requirement, so that's pretty hefty. We're still trying to crank construction up a little bit more, and still deciding if we want to turn this into a world conquest run. I don't think we could quite do it in 1890 with this many countries left, just because of the number of wars we have to declare, but maybe it's possible. We also declared on Portugal, and the reason we declared on Portugal specifically is because they had an alliance or defensive pact with Great Britain, and so this gives us a fight with Great Britain, and we also just get to annex Portugal and annex Macron. This is currently what we have in as the war goals, but we are also going to, take a lot of British territory, probably just these 4 provinces, because they're 25 maneuvers apiece. Pretty happy having gotten multilateral alliances faster than I've ever gotten it before, because we are using all our maneuvers in every single play that is big like this. But we will continue, we will see who joins, and we will likely try and force Britain out from the British Isles. If I'm not mistaken, when they lose their capital, they do have to move it to one that is English, which means either moving it here, or to the Falkland Islands after they lose it. So that will kind of be what happens, or what shakes out. It shouldn't take too much, should be a fairly easy war, because Great Britain is pretty kneecapped. Everyone's kneecapped except for the French. The sun never sets on our empire, and we will continue kind of with the main objective of, incorporating Eastern France over here, as well as, un-Louisianaing this purchase. Unpurchasing the no, we're un-Louisianaing the purchase. So looks like Russia thought they could be somebody, and they joined in on this, and so most of the additional war goals we put in are actually on Russia instead of the UK. We're taking the home counties. We actually want the 15% bonus that appears here for Navy bases, and so this will kind of help out. I believe they also have a decent amount of ports, and we could use some ports. Just kidding. They don't have a decent amount of ports, but we want to take them anyways. We want to get Big Ben. It's nice and humiliating, etc., mostly, etc. And then over here, we are liberating the Russian people in Orsha, Smolensk, and Novgorod, and you can probably notice the pattern here, and also beautiful that it highlights now. I don't think it did before patch 1.3, but you can see the little highlight of the nation or the state we're taking. We are drawing kind of a circle around Ingria, which is where there is the market capital, and so we are tightening the noose even more on their already really bad market access in the Russian market, and so hopefully as we continue this, we might be able to get them down to minor power, and once they're a minor power, then we can just puppet them, and so this is kind of how we're progressing along in regards to this war. So this will be a really productive war, and big nice that they can't back down, so we get to use all of our maneuvers, and none of them have to be using adding to primary. They can't back down, or they won't, because it's annexing the primary person, which is Portugal, and we're also annexing Macron here, which is of course nice because one less person makes it easier to decay these guys to minor power, which is going to make it easier to puppet them and then annex them, even though they're quite big, like Russia, for example. Looks like the UK finally managed to get themselves on trench infantry, which has been the first one we've seen so far. It's not going to help if you just look at kind of where we're working with in terms of GDP. We have the East India Company, which is our subject, is the next biggest GDP with, 1/15 of ours, roughly. Then is Great Qing, who's in Russia's market with no market access, so they're a non-factor. And then is Great Britain with 64 million, of course, to to ours, and we are about to take the home counties off of them. Followed by 2 Sicilies. Respectable. This is a nice line go up. I can dig it. And then we have Canada, our subject, Ottoman Empire. We're going to clap them. That was us clapping them a little bit. Russia, we're clapping them right now. We're going to clap them some more. United Scientific... Oh, the US of A. The United Scientific Associations. We still need to un-Louisiana this purchase. And we have our nice big decay of Austria-Hungary, which we are trying to get under to be a minor power, so we can just subjugate them all out. But yeah, should be able to... Ooh, do they have a bit of a landing coming in? We might have to do some dynamic maneuvering, so we're actually just going to pause. We're going to recruit... we're going to see about recruiting a general, actually. Really kind of would rather not recruit another general in the France HQ, but I think that might be a landing coming in, and we don't want to lose the Belle Epoque event, which you lose if an enemy has reached Isle de France. And so I guess we will we're going to first look and see, are they from the French HQ? These guys probably are, but we don't want to recall someone that big. This guy we could recall, maybe we recall this guy, except he's in the middle of a battle. And so we're actually just going to recruit a general in the France HQ, just to try and be careful, because we don't want to brick our event. We only have... one in here right now. We can get a stalwart defender who's a social democrat, or Intelligentsia who's a communist. I think we'll take the communist. No, we don't really care about their traits, and we're going to promote him once and have him sit in the HQ to defend against any landings. Yeah, so we have a pretty big guy, here defending, and maybe this is just a battle between our guy who's raiding, these, but we just want to be careful here and just make sure that we don't get landed, because other than that, this war is super, super, like, you can just see all the fronts are pushing, everyone's in pain except for us. It's how it goes, and so we're just being a little careful here. What a delightful event. Fin de, however you pronounce this, thought, with the coming end of the century, a literary and artistic movement expressing pessimism, fear, and social degeneration has swept through the French Commune. And we have the quite simple response. Now, this isn't the better response, but this is the one we're going to give. The world is getting better. Have they not seen our GDP figures? I mean, the line is very clearly going up, and so obviously it's a better world. Better me, better life, better GDP, better wife. And the wife is, I guess, Great Britain? That seems wrong. Well, Great Britain was once mummy. I don't think she's mummy no mo, especially in this run. But this war is going to be over soon, and we get cooperative ownership, which is going to be big nice. Did that just jump up all by itself? And not, of course, all by itself, but now we are going to have to manage the construction queue even closer because we are getting less investment pool contribution. But this is going to make everything really, really, really a lot better, because there is a negative modifier, of course, that is being applied to the investment pool and reinvestment. It's 0.34, and by switching to cooperative ownership, we are actually decreasing the amount that is getting contributed to the investment pool, which means more money is going to get passed around. We also eliminate the upper strata entirely because we get rid of landowners and capitalists, which will increase our standard of living, because standard of living is not linearly tracked with wealth. There is exponential needs, and so because we are eliminating the class that spends the most on exponential needs, this will overall raise our standard of living up quite a lot, which will allow us to siphon off more pops from, our already beleaguered subjects who are running out of pops to sap off. So this is kind of where this is going. Our GDP just plummets right now. I believe it'll be coming back up shortly, but perhaps that wave of pessimism was right. Perhaps it is the worst timeline where we go communist. Our GDP and our standard of living are just absolutely cranking up now as things need to adjust, or starting to adjust. This is mainly because the really rich folk, if we come in here, they are in a deficit. They are not consuming their needs, so this caused a little bit of short-term turbulence in the market. But now these guys are starting to consume a lot more, and the market's starting to adjust to that. And so overall, we will trend towards a more efficient equilibrium of consumer buildings. And another thing we can do now that we're not on laissez-faire anymore is we can do stuff like deleting these livestock ranches and instead going towards opium and pushing up the economies of scale, the throughput, which is just like free goods for us, which is something valuable and worth going for in your arable land. And so now we can kind of start making those swaps over. Also, regarding the war, we did make a little bit of a mistake not to land Macron way earlier. We've enforced on everyone else already. Big nice, big happy. This isn't border gore. You don't know what border gore is, but we are progressing, you know, towards some stuff. We do have to handle the fact that we have very, very poor bureaucracy, but it's only giving us 4% tax waste. So things are coming along. We're building a bunch of government admins, and we'll be finding a new war soon. So we're going after the USA now to finish the unpurchasing of the Louisiana Purchase. We also put in a regime change attempt with the idea that we'd rather have them be a slightly different color and liberate New England and war reps primarily to try and coax them to back down. They are, you know, in bankruptcy. The relative strength of mobilization, we don't quite have the 75, but I think we will before they are out of the back down period. We don't want to border gore them yet because we want the nice screenshot of the, you know, un-Louisiana Purchase. And so this is kind of where we're going with that. We do need to fill this queue. Big yikes. But we have the marketplace of the world as well. We will probably do sell. And, you know, things are shaping along quite nicely. In terms of the GPs, kind of the status on these guys, a lot of these guys are falling off pretty heavily. Austria-Hungary is now a minor power, so our war after this will likely be puppeting them, you know, in order to restore balance to their customs union. And then once all these guys, here, we gotta clear this map mode. Once these guys have market access again, all their territory will be valuable again, but they will be our subject, and then we can annex them later, etc. Okay, so the USA doesn't know what's good for them. These colors, and by these colors I mean this deep uncolored gray, they don't run, and so they've started a fight. And by they've started a fight, I mean we started the fight, but we will be finishing it too, and we're doing a full 7 landings on them, all in different spots. Not expecting all of these to get through. You know, we have a Navy of 4 and a Navy of 5 here and there, but a really big one is landing right on the capital, expecting that one to get through, and expecting us to roll them up pretty quickly here, you know, on these fronts. GDP doing absolutely stellar, standard of living absolutely cranked up following passing communism. And then, you know, everything's looking really good in terms of the numbers. As we said earlier, Austria-Hungary's decayed. Russia's pretty close to decaying, or Russia's going to decay to a major. I think the UK is also going to decay to a major, and so the only one we have to, you know, the only GP after this will be 2 Sicilies, so I guess we'll probably try and slap everyone out of GPdom kind of in the near future here. Would really love to kind of do a Trans-Siberian Railroad, you know, type of thing to try and connect the provinces so we don't have to use convoys to connect them. But other than this, you know, things are going really well. Obviously, this war is like, at this point, it's like somewhat of a nothing burger because we're just going to crush them. But, you know, it is what it is. They're not even on trench yet, so we'll see them rolled up pretty quick. So we are actually not going to liberate New England here, and the reason is if we can get them to minor power status, it'll actually take fewer wars to annex all of them if we don't release New England, and I think we can get them to minor power status. Maybe we have to humiliate them, maybe we just have to take dirt from them, you know. If we take this area surrounding the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia, which should be fairly easy, we can deny enough market access to, I think, brick them. So we're just going to go with this as our peace deal here, and we will un-Louisiana this purchase, return to sender. This is the Indian sale. We've returned it all to ourselves, and maybe we will release Oklahoma, maybe not, but this is of course, we get the nice back to the United States of America. It's no longer the technocratic states or the other USA, United Syndicates or whatever it was, and so we get this nice looking French commune. We unpurchased it. We, of course, wanted it back. Napoleon wanted it to sell it to fund his wars, but now we fund our own wars. So thanks for keeping it warm for us, America, while we, you know, righted some wrongs in Europe. So we have noticed that Russia's trade access or market access was not as kneecapped as we had hoped, and so we're going to go after Russia next. And I know what you might be thinking, didn't you just go after Russia? How are you going to do this? They have a defensive pact with none other than the East India Company, who has really slowed down on the annexation of its internal miners, and so this is kind of why we were keeping it around for such a long time. Also, we passed multiculturalism a couple episodes ago, which is going to be really valuable, because if we annex the East India Company, we'll be able to get a ton of migration towards our areas. Migration's capped at a certain percent of a certain percentage of your population, and so while we are sending a ton out from here, somehow Hebei has positive migration attraction. That's wild. But we are sending a ton out from China. We can do the same from the East India Company. Now, we cannot siphon pops off from them now, at least that is, we cannot siphon off discriminated pops because they have migration controls. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to annex them, we're going to annex all the little miners, and we're going to take 1 to 2 states off of Russia. I think if we take this state off of Russia here, we will deny access to these 2 states, which is maybe going to be enough to get Russia to become, like, decay into minor power status. This is the hope, but we will start the annexed subject CB, and we will see how things shake out. And of course, hopefully Russia doesn't abandon them, and we'll see how it looks by the end of this mobilization and play start. So I just noticed something that must be the AI scrambling to fix this problem, but being unable to do so. In Russia, there's basically very, very few buildings, and if you look at what they have queued up, just kind of scrolling down, you'll see there are queued up ports everywhere, and so they must be like building and deleting their ports because of the problems they're having with the market access, and they're trying to get enough convoys, but their economy can't support that level of convoys to fix this problem. And so really they haven't made a lot of progress or done much of anything since we did this kneecapping. And so this will really be more of a mercy killing than anything else, to get them under to be a minor power so that we can subjugate them, pull them under our wing and show us how to actually, or show them rather, how to actually run an economy. Mr. 2.5 billion GDP out. Looks like Austria is having a hard time, losing out to this Romanian uprising here in their outclave or enclave. Outclave? I forget what the word is, but they can't really do anything about it because they don't have access, so they just lose that one because they don't have local armies. So we just completed the Belle Epoque event, and I think it's bugged because we didn't get anything. Or we completed the sort of defend the capital type thing, and there's nothing for us in terms of any sort of event that I am seeing, which is very weird, but I guess we are just people of culture and it doesn't matter too much anyways. So, we are the market, the world market, we are the world culture, and I don't think anyone can or would be well advised to argue to the contrary. Well, it looks like a theocratic USA is incoming. And on that note, I think we're going to conclude it even though we're mid-war, because this war is kind of moving slow as molasses, just like the performance we're having right now, in regards to, certainly not the conquest, but in terms of the PC. And so this episode, we did do a big one in terms of, un-Louisianaing the purchase. It was the Indian sale. We wanted it back, and so we took it back. Napoleon didn't mean it. That's Napoleon I, not the undead warlord Napoleon. He didn't mean it when he sold it, and so we said, JK, we want it back. We also slapped around Great Britain. I think we slapped around Russia, and now we're slapping Russia around again. A little bit of deja vu on that front. But overall, starting to clean through. We're probably going to try in next episode, after concluding this war, focus a little bit on trying to, reclaim this eastern portion of France here, and so hopefully that'll be good. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and other than that, have a good... Actually, you know what? It's been a while since I've suggested this, but if you've been sitting a prolonged period of time, I know these videos are a little bit shorter now, but consider going out on a walk. It increases your blood flow, improves markers of like attitude and or not that I'm saying you have an attitude, but improves, you know, mood. It reduces all-cause mortality. Like, I think walking 16k steps versus 2k steps, which, okay, that's a big difference. If I'm not mistaken, does more to reduce all-cause mortality as opposed to being in a healthy weight range versus morbidly obese, or being a smoker to being a non-smoker. It, like, makes a huge difference, and it makes you feel better, and it probably makes you play better. You know, chess grandmasters, as part of playing well, they actually exercise, not just study chess, because blood flow to your brain's important. Anyways, digression. Have a good one.